My name is Veronica, and today I'm going to speak a little bit about experiencing life as a neutral experience. Not because it's not fun to experience it in its glory or in its frustration, but more because I would like to offer this idea of neutrality. When we have experiences that are a little bit harsh or uncomfortable, those of us who have some conscious metaphysical information or perspectives might look at that experience as a way to learn what that message or that experience might be teaching us. Is life about lessons? For some situations and for people, absolutely. Is everything we are, everything that we experience about some sort of lesson? I am going to lean a little bit away from that and offer us some neutrality. The reason is that many times we can get really stuck or caught in this idea that this happened, therefore this situation is trying to tell me some greater picture, and because of this greater picture I need to make some sort of change in myself so that I can learn a lesson. I offer this idea of children. When children are first learning how to walk, for example, they fall down and they get up and then they try again to walk. It is through the falling down that they learn that, that walking didn't quite work, and they don't typically give up. They typically will find their way to stand back up, usually using some sort of prop, maybe a table or a chair, to help themselves get up. And by practicing, they learn how to walk. So that is something that the human being is sort of naturally inclined to do, to move forward, to walk, to stand upright, to be part of the world. However, if the child isn't able to walk, we as a society, as a culture, as a species, will often do something to support that child. Perhaps we get that child a wheelchair, maybe there's some leg braces that the child needs, and so on. However, everything we do doesn't necessarily have to be a lesson. We expect everybody to walk at some point, and we support people to get around in some way, shape, or form if they can't learn how to specifically walk. However, our experiences of life are each individual. So maybe it isn't up in everybody's best interest or in everybody's soul journey, let's say, to actually walk. Maybe their experience is going to be experiencing life in a wheelchair, for example. If that's the case, does that person need to spend a lot of time and energy figuring out, why am I not able to walk? What is my huge lesson in life? Maybe. It's an option. With all the information that's out there about metaphysics and about creating our reality or looking deeper at some sort of issue, whether it be something physically that happens, let's say if we're sick, or something that's happening in our life, we can look at that and we can look at it through the lens of, this is an opportunity to learn something, and therefore there's going to be a lesson learned if I take the time to learn that lesson. However, with that sort of intention that everything is about learning, it sets up a couple of things. First of all, there is a lot of weightedness to the experience of life. Perhaps we're here just to experience life. The reason I offer this up is that if we have an attachment that we actually have to learn something, then many times we take that very personally and we use it as an excuse to be harsh, critical, or judgmental on ourselves. Bringing awareness to something, whether it's a pattern, for example, that we keep creating in our lives, can be enlightening. So for example, if we're constantly drawing in the same type of person into our life to have a relationship with, and that relationship isn't one that's satisfying, and so we release the relationship and then we find the next person, but their patterning is pretty much the same, then we can start to see that perhaps there is something to learn from this. We bring our awareness, our consciousness to a situation, to an experience. With this awareness, we are bringing light. The light, however, does not judge the experience. It simply illuminates it. It is our mind, however, that will sometimes get caught up in the judgment piece and say, oh, there's something wrong with you. You learned how to be in relationship through your parenting, and your parents did this, that, or the other to you, and therefore you need to learn this lesson in order to get through these humps in life. You could do that. Or you can simply look at the experience and say, it's an experience, no big deal. In all of my offerings, I show the neutrality as best I can, still being a human being, even though I have a lot of spiritual insights. There is that part of me that is still judgmental. Sadly, unfortunately, whatever you want to describe it as, our words themselves are listed in categories: good, bad, right, wrong. They are infused with some sense of judgment. So as best I can, I bring forth information with neutrality. This way we can start to see our patterning as simply that, a neutral experience. However, if it's not bringing us joy, if we are feeling stuck in our patterning, perhaps we want to bring some light. Light is also love. The most important experience to offer another experience, to illuminate it, to bring light to it, to help it shift, is love. So if we are looking at our experiences and at ourselves as someone who's making bad choices, and we should make a different choice, and we add a lot of shame and that sort of intention and attention to our energy fields, to ourselves, and infuse it with judgment, self-judgment, it's much harder to move beyond it. However, if we look at it with neutrality as, oh, you're having this experience. You tend to have this experience again and again. Perhaps you want to try a new experience. That's an option. What I offer is to send love to the experience, to the possibility of new choices, so that you can have the ability to respond with self-love, with self-respect and honor, rather than judgment. This isn't the answer to everything. It is simply a suggestion to perhaps see your own experiences through the lens of neutrality, perhaps experience the feeling of self-love as you make new choices. If you make new choices, and if you don't, try not to judge them. And with that, thank you and enjoy your time on earth as the experience of life unfolds to you.